Since when are men bitches? Like, when did that happen? Because I was married for so long that I've been out of the dating scene. But, like, all these men are literally bitches. Like, I would be the man in the relationship if I dated that guy. I would be the man. Me, I would be the man.
All right. All right. I can't speak for all men, but I definitely not that. Let me say that. Unfortunately, she have a lack of respect for men. And so let's get into it. There are a lot of soft men out here. There are a lot of fathers that's raising soft men. There are a lot of women that's raising soft, effeminate boys. Let me say that. Real men matter. Dads matter. The system destroyed about 2 generations of men. I always say that, especially in the 80s and the 90s. In the 80s, the crack epidemic came through and destroyed a lot of black and brown fathers, uncles, big chiefs in the neighborhood, big brothers. And in the 90s, with these crime bills, they was locking black and brown men up at an alarming rate. With 3 strikes you out, and with the 94 crime bill. I know I have some people like, oh, that's not true. And I'm going to tell these people to go do your research and look at that bill which your former president signed, Joe Biden signed. And so that left a gaping hole of women having to raise little boys that became emotional and effeminate in a lot of fronts. I'm not saying a woman can't raise a male morally. Yes, she can raise a male morally, but it come a time in that boy's life when he get ready to make that transition into puberty, where he need that man to put that testosterone gene, that line in him, that guidance in him. That's why, if you notice, most teenager boys start seeking their father, start wanting to be around their father, start wanting to go, if the father's not in the home, they want to go live with the father full time, or at least majority of the time. A lot of women say, hey, and I know women not gonna like this message, but I have to speak truth. I have to be honest here. And a lot of women be like, nah, you ain't going to that because that child support keep coming in. For those who get child support, not every woman get a child support check. So, and I think that's where a lot of boys became emotional, effeminate, and it hurt a lot of the male population today. Let me say that. You know what I mean? I feel truth about that. I have a son, and that's why I raised my son to be a man through and through. I tell my son, when you make a decision, you stick with that decision. You lead by your morals, by your standards. You know what I mean? So when you do get a wife one day, you'll lead your household and raise your kids. If you have a son, you'll raise your son to be a man like yourself, like I raised you. But there are a lot of soft boys out here. And I was talking to a partner of mine the other day about how a lot of men don't make a decision. One of the women we was just in general conversation with a while ago, she was like, one of the problems she had with the guy that she was dating, he would not make a decision. If they wanted to go out to eat, she was like, where you want to go? And then he was like, well, I go wherever you would like to go. Instead of saying, hey, and I talked to this brother who I'm talking about. And I said, hey man, if she asks you where y'all want to go, just pick. I don't give a damn if it's Burger King. Be like, hey, we're gonna go to Burger King and live with it, be willing to live with that decision. But this guy would not make a decision even on a food front. If you say, she's like, where you want to go, and you be like, hey, let's hit Burger King, man. That's all I got a taste for. Then she come back and be like, well, I really don't feel like Burger King, but how about this? Then you can take in consideration of that. You know what I mean? Be like, well, all right, bet. But you got to be willing to make a decision. Every woman, and I know women hate this word. Let me say this. I understand. Every woman will submit to the right man. They ain't gonna submit to anybody, any man. A woman won't submit to any man. She have to feel, she have to trust you. She have to trust your leadership. She have to trust that you could provide. She could have to trust that you will protect her and the family. And yes, then she will submit to your leadership, because by biblically, the male is the head of the household, and vice versa. A man would change his ways for a particular woman. Not every woman, but a certain woman, he would change. He would change certain things about his character, or some things about how he go about his business for that woman. You ever seen back in the day? How I was going to use back in the day, because man, I'm an Xer. You ever seen? I'm gonna say Tater Head. I'm gonna just use some old nickname, Tater Head and Speaker Box. We used to run the road, right? And they were bad little boys, but when they got around Big Mama, they pulled their pants up. They didn't use her language. It was yes ma'am, no ma'am. They sat there with manners, because that woman had that respect on them. You know what I mean? They couldn't act like they was just acting around Pamela and Pauline and all that. When they got around Big Mama, they knew they couldn't do that, because Big Mama demanded respect. And vice versa with a little girl. She can be fast and hot and all that, but when she get around Big Uncle, she don't act like that. She knows sir and all that. So it's certain levels. When they respect you, they're gonna change, whether it's male or female. So this lady said most men are bees. Some of them, I agree with her. I agree with her on that. A lot of them are. Not all of them. Not all of them. Because hey, I'm damn sure not one of them. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of guys out there that would not make a decision, would not lead the household, and that's what that woman looking for. You know what I mean? If you can't lead your household, you might need to find another wife. I'm just being honest with you, or another woman. Let me just be honest with you on that, because I love mine, but I am going to lead my household. I'm going to guide my family, provide, protect at all costs. But I'm going to let y'all hear this one more time, and she might have a very valid point, because I was just seeing a few weeks ago, if y'all remember, there was this boy that was dressed up like Willy Wonka. His father took him to the prom, and he was up there crying when he saw his dad. And I hear the women in the background, oh, he crying. What? That's a male. What? Why is he crying? And then I seen one other on TikTok that with one boy, well, I guess he was in a cheerleading outfit, and they was doing some type of photo, and they lit a fire and had a shoe in, and he up there fanning like he shedding tears. You know what I mean? Dads matter. Ladies, you got to let dad be dad. Just like men, you got to let mom be mom. But what's going on in society right now, it's not natural. It's not natural. And I understand people be upset with me, but I'd rather you be upset with me than my Elohim, the Most High, be upset with me by going against His word. And I'm just speaking what it is. You know what I mean? So let's listen to this one more time, and then I'll close it out.
Since when are men bitches? Like, when did that happen? Because I was married for so long that I've been out of the dating scene, but like, all these men are literally bitches. Like, I would be the man in the relationship if I dated that guy. I would be the man. Me, I would be the man.
And that's not her role, fellas, for her to be the man in the relationship. So, lead your household, lead your family, lead your wife, love on your wife, protect your family, protect your wife, provide for your family, provide for your wife. Be a man. With that said, I'm Abrew Yashar'el. Until next time, shalom, everybody.